Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. I have returned after taking a few days off to be with the family. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you had a wonderful Christmas. I did pop in with David Knight, of course, Friday. He did a great job guest hosting the transmission. David Knight of InfoWars Nightly News. The crew did a great job as well. All week with some special rebroadcasts that also had new original research and material integrated into those transmissions. But we have returned. This will be the last Sunday broadcast of 2013. It is the 29th day of December 2013. And I do want to open the phones up in the first hour. Now, I usually don't even do that in the second because I tend to have so much news I want to cover, I don't get to your calls. But I specifically, and I'll give the number out in about 20, 30 minutes and open the phones up, want to hear from you on what you think the most important stories of 2013 were, because it's important to be retrospective, and then also to look forward what you think is going to happen in 2014, which I myself and many other folks smarter than I in many areas believe is the most critical year perhaps in world history. Because if we screw up and have another world war, it's going to be thermonuclear, biological, chemical, and nanotech in nature. There's a lot of other weapon systems. And we probably, as a species, won't make it. So we're kind of reaching that point where we've got to decide whether we want to go into the future or not as a species. It's make it or break it time. And I'm not saying all this will happen in 2014, but the breaks, the analogy I was thinking of last night when I was out having dinner with some friends was, it's like pool where you hit the ball, you know, that first hit after you've racked the other balls, and the direction and the lay of the game to come to a great extent is based on how good a hit you put in to that triangle of balls. And that's what 2014 is on so many fronts. It is not just a big deal here in the United States, but it's a big deal worldwide. And there's a lot of different reasons for that. We're going to be breaking it down coming up today. Obviously, there is a massive ton of important news here. And as usual, I don't know where to start. Here's a story from RT from Infowars.com. We posted it. Drudge linked to it, drudgereport.com. LAPD deploys drug detection swab test at sobriety checkpoints. Now, folks, I've been telling you for about 5 years, these are federal grants. They admit they're to prepare people for forced DNA swabbing at highway checkpoints. Now, they're not just hiring off-duty cops to do this under the federal program. They are setting it up and basically forcing people to do it via intimidation. And, hey, mind if I do a breathalyzer? Or I'm going to take you to jail. Now I'm going to take a cheek swab. And I told you that was next. I'm not smart, okay? I've learned how the globalists operate. It's like if you have a con artist neighbor that you've lived next to for 5 years, and you finally learn all their tricks, basically. Because criminals and scammers only have certain systems they follow. Criminals are extremely obsessive-compulsive. And I'm not even saying the police are criminals here, though they're engaged in criminal, unconstitutional, racketeering, intimidation, color of law, garbage. I'm not saying they're consciously criminal, but the social engineers that are coming up with this on record are criminals. And we're going to be going over that. So that's just one of the articles I've got here. I mean, there's got to be more than 200 today. This is a mass load of information. We're going to be breaking that down. A DNC sends out email defending Obama from impeachment possibility. And the Daily Caller makes a joke out of this. This is very serious. There is, according to many Congress people I've talked on and off air, a major move of impeachment being looked at for at least the Attorney General. And, of course, just like with Nixon, if that starts with the Attorney General and others, it's over. If cabinet-level people get targeted in impeachment, it'll turn into a criminal investigation of the fraudster-in-chief, the Lord of Obamacare. So we're going to be breaking it all down straight ahead. Stay with us.
Now you can watch the InfoWars Nightly News streaming live as it happens for free.
Check it out at Infowars.com/show.
And again, this will be the last Sunday broadcast of 2013, but we'll be here live tomorrow And again, then on Tuesday into New Year's. I haven't decided yet if we'll be live New Year's Day. And I think I'm going to wait until New Year's Eve to see if some huge news story befalls us. And then I will be here live on New Year's Day. But we are live on this Sunday edition, and then we'll be back weekdays, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're here every Sunday live, 4 to 6 p.m. Central. And, of course, a lot of affiliates, about half of them roughly, don't carry the show live, so you're hearing it at different times all around the country. Some stations, in fact, air this Sunday show later in the evening the next day and have a special edition. So we want to thank all of those great affiliates out there for being fellow travelers in liberty, not fellow travelers in collectivism and tyranny. All right, let me just give you some of the headlines. I'm going to try my best to go over these and then open the phones up on some big questions I've got that I want to get your take on out there. Hope you had a great Christmas. And we're plunging into 2014, such a critical year. DNC sends email defending Obama from impeachment possibility. And some of the conservative groups made a joke about this, saying, oh, you guys are paranoid. Oh, well, that's what the blue blood Republicans hope, because they don't want to impeach Obama. That'll bring justice to the whole system and scare the abuse of power. They want Obama to leave office so the Republican establishment can seize power and use all these new dictatorial goodies and precedents that Obama has set. We want to bring Obama and his cohorts that, I don't want to exaggerate, have probably done 5 times more tyranny than any other president before him. And again, I was a big critic of Bush, folks. Obama is literally so horrible and has carried the ball for tyranny. He basically made like 1,000 touchdowns against liberty. I mean, it's just so devastating, so horrible. We've got to reverse all this, and you've got to have investigations. You've got to impeach people. You've got to jail people, or it sets the precedent and they get away with it. So we're going to be talking about that today. Listen to this Daily Caller. DNC sends email defending Obama from impeachment possibility. The Democratic National Committee sent out a paranoid email Saturday evening urging supporters to vote for Democrats so the Republicans can impeach President Obama. They went on to say it's desperate in 2014. If the Tea Party people get in, they'll impeach him. Oh, that's actually true. That's why you've got the Republican leadership, Boner and Rove and all of them, the people that helped write Obamacare, on record. All together, you've got them working in concert to try to keep Obamacare in place, to try to keep the Federal Reserve in place, to try to keep the status quo of galloping tyranny in place. And so you've got the big Republican associations of manufacturers and the different business groups that have actually deindustrialized this country, the groups that are actually insiders who only want business for themselves and want big government to shut down their competition. All the big Republican blue blood scum groups, mafia groups, who helped create the modern Democratic Party, basically, as their fake loyal opposition. So the Democrats are so horrible, you keep voting for the blue bloods. The blue bloods are all lined up with the Democrats, and when an Obama speech leaks or a Biden speech leaks, who are they talking about? They're talking not about the Russians, not about the Chi-Coms, not about any of that. They're worried about the Tea Party. That's why it's so fashionable in even mainline neocon talk radio to bash the libertarian Tea Party, because they're the only people that know what's going on. They're not perfect, but they're the only possible opposition to the globalist takeover. They understand the basics. And the public sees them as the opposition properly. And so it's growing at the state and federal and local level. And that is panicking the system right now across the board. That is panicking the system at every single level. So the entire power structure who's tried to co-opt the Tea Party in the last 7-8 years, back when Ron Paul first founded it, then they couldn't co-opt it, they couldn't derail it, they couldn't buy it off because it was an idea. So even if they bought it off, the crowds just went somewhere else. The idea continued on like the phoenix out of the ashes. And so now they're trying to kill it. I mean, just look it up. It's in the news every day. The entire Republican blue blood establishment, the entire globalist banking cartel, the entire military-industrial complex, they are all on record steamrolling ahead as viciously as they possibly can to get rid of it. And they know if there's a Tea Party sweep into the House and even a few seats in the Senate, there will be impeachment. And folks, Obama makes Richard Nixon look like the Archangel Gabriel or something. As bad as Nixon was, he did not want to destroy America. He did not want to destroy all the families. He did not want to totally socialize everything. He just wanted power and control. And the elites couldn't fully control him, so they set him up and basically had him impeached. And that's all been declassified and come out. Bob Woodward of the Naval Intelligence and others with the CIA infiltrating his own organization and his own group, making him paranoid to target his political opposition and then bringing him down. And I'm not romanticizing Nixon. They were looking at plans to bomb their own RNC event. It even has come out on PBS and Frontline to blame it on their political opposition. That's how bad Nixon was. He was going to blow stuff up and blame it on his political opposition because he thought they were evil and needed to be done. But he at least thought he was good. With these people, with these globalists, they are all about criminal, total domination of the individual, the wrecking of America forever, period. And that's why it's total scorched earth, salting the earth, massive economic, cultural siege of America to fully bring us into the New World Order. Because you can't have our country owning guns and having private property when the globalists are getting rid of that worldwide, except for offshore corporations that are above the law and have corporate diplomatic immunity. So that's what's happening. That's why 2014 coming up is so incredibly critical. But the loyal opposition, neocons posing as libertarian conservative groups, are always there joking and laughing and, no one would ever impeach Obama. How ridiculous. Who would think of such a thing? Paranoia. No, we must move forward to impeach the Attorney General for Fast and Furious and all the other lies. And Hillary, I don't care if she's left office, drag her up there over Benghazi and caught lying. And caught lying about Obamacare. I mean, it should be, but see, the Republican leadership is all involved in this. They're all corrupt as well. So who are they going after? Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, Matt Drudge, Alex Jones, people like that. They're demonizing anyone who just isn't completely sold out to tyranny and who isn't an insane control freak.
I just found me a brand new box.
The InfoWars crew absolutely loves coffee because we love being awake. And I am somewhat of a connoisseur of coffee. So many times you go to a restaurant or even to a coffee shop and the coffee tastes like garbage. And in all the different coffees I've tried, my favorite is grown in the high mountains, in shade, Arabica, on the border with Guatemala in southern Mexico by the Chiapas farmers. I make sure we've done the research. I make sure it's the very best product that we can offer you when I put my name on it. And I believe, and it's my taste, so you may differ, that this is the best coffee in the world from southern Mexico. Wake Up America Patriot Blend, 100% organic, Arabica shade grown. And then we have the Immune Support, 100% organic coffee, infused with a special type of mushroom known to boost the immunity.
This coffee is seriously so smooth. I normally have to douse my coffee with cream and sugar and cinnamon and all kinds of tasty treats, but this, I drink this black. It is so good.
Well, that's why I like it, is that it has a kick, it has really good caffeine in it, it has a good clean wake up that lasts for a long time, doesn't give me a headache, but it's so smooth, it's so delicious. Just try it out for yourself. I'm telling you, this is my favorite coffee. We went through a lot of trouble to bring you this. Just try it, and I think you'll be hooked like we are here at InfoWars. Well, folks, find out for yourself and support the information war today. It's all available at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139. Well, a Black Widow, as they're called, suicide bomber, hit a major city in Russia, killing at least 15 people. And it's a reported Islamist attack with an al-Qaeda affiliated group. Guess who on record runs al-Qaeda out of Dagestan on record? The criminals that run our government. And they were busy beavers over the Christmas holiday in Libya, in Iraq, in Syria, in Egypt. I have a stack of news articles here where the radical Islamists attacked Christians, churches, in some cases killing more than 100 people per church. They would blow them up during Christmas services, Catholic churches, Orthodox churches, all those ancient churches. And reportedly in Syria, they would tell them as they bombed them and then people would run out and they would shoot them, leave Syria, you are invading, even though these Christians were there for 1,000 years before there were any Islamists in Syria. Syria is, next to like Galilee in Israel, the oldest seat of Christianity. Just a little newsflash for everybody. Syria is, next to Israel, the oldest Christian settlements in the world. Let's just get that straight. Islamist students torch buildings at university in Egypt. Christian bombings killed 34 in Iraq. Reuters. Christmas Day bombing, killed 37. Christmas attack shows security challenges in Iraq, Afghanistan. But notice the media didn't want to report. You could find it, but it was in the back of the paper or hidden on the internet, that there were just hundreds of attacks all over Syria killing the Christians. That's where it really happened. But see, our government's openly funding the Islamists to do this. Kenyan police seek youths over Christmas Day church burnings. Reuters. On and on and on. I think I'll stop right there. And folks know that I'm not, quote, an Islamophobe. In fact, the neocons, they were busy getting rid of our Bill of Rights and Constitution in the 8 years before Obama got in. And, of course, the Democrats are more than happy to use all that power now and all that unconstitutional garbage to say the Tea Party are the new enemy. You notice that happen. You notice the whole Homeland Security apparatus is pointed at anybody who's not a total criminal, anybody who actually loves freedom, anybody who actually cares about having a future, who doesn't have a criminal instinct. I don't care whether you're a classical liberal, libertarian, or conservative. These people are literally demonizing us and coming after us. This is a political purge. Total creepville. And my issue is they always say, Alex, you say there's no radical Islam, and you say that Bush with TNT blew up the World Trade Center. I never said that. I said criminal elements in our government have been funding radical Islam since they took the keys away from the British Empire, and Hitler had it during World War II when he took over the Middle East and North Africa, and they have used those groups to menace the world and to take over countries, and then now they use them to attack us so they can then take our rights. And it doesn't mean they totally run them. They just fund them, open the door for them, let them come in and attack in a false flag. Just like Richard Nixon, it's been declassified, was going to bomb his own RNC and blame it on his political enemies. It's called a frame-up. The oldest thing in the book, in criminology, it is ancient, framing someone. Look at who has the motive to get all this power, all this control, set up a police state in the name of fighting al-Qaeda. Meanwhile, they are turning them loose in North Africa, Central Africa, Western Africa, Eastern Africa. Al-Qaeda, they bring Al-Qaeda into, it came out in the Ivory Coast this year in mainstream news. We covered the reports here at the time that the governments in multiple countries in Africa said, listen, we're pro-West, we're Christian. You are giving Al-Qaeda control of these oil refineries, and then they pull out when the special forces or the mercenaries show up, and you just use it to steal our national refineries in the name of protecting them. You are running Al-Qaeda. And then the prime minister gets shot the next day after he says that. I mean, that, folks, let me explain. This is 101. You want to take over, take everybody's freedom, get trillions of no-bid contracts? You go fund hundreds of thousands of crazy jihadis. You give them high-tech weapons in Benghazi. You let them go on complete rampages worldwide. The public doesn't know the difference between a Shiite and a Sunni, a Wahhabist. So you tell them, the public, give your rights up or Al-Qaeda will kill you. This is 101 strategy. And the general public has no idea how things even work. And it's very frustrating to me to sit here and to watch radical Islam, the very tip of the spear of radical Islam, funded by the criminals that have hijacked our government. And that's another reason Obama and all these people need to be impeached, because before they were a little more sneaky back in Jimmy Carter's day, funding and creating al-Qaeda and the Taliban. In 1979, Brzezinski's written 3 books bragging about it since then. That's how dumb they think you are. They admit to these crimes. His national security advisor is Zbigniew Brzezinski. They've been smarter since then, you know, to cover it up. Now they don't even care. They just openly, here's TOW missiles, here's heat-seeking missiles, here's anti-tank missiles, here's heavy artillery, here Al-Qaeda, here's armored vehicles, here's air support. Go take over, blow up churches, murder everybody. The Pentagon now admits, I was watching C-SPAN earlier in the week. We had it on in the back, and I was up here working. So I just kept walking in and like watching 30 minutes of this, 30 minutes of that. And I was watching this C-SPAN event on Middle Eastern Studies from Georgetown. And they had this top professor in there. And he was from Qatar. And they were just admitting all this. Well, the American plan did quite well to break up Iraq and destabilize it. And now it's in total turmoil. And we appreciate that in Qatar and Saudi Arabia. And now our program is to destabilize everyone but us. And it's all these professors and media there. And all these policy wonks, they all know how things work because they've been involved setting the policy. And I'm sitting there watching them admit this on national television. But I know that only policy wonks watch that. C-SPAN has a tiny audience usually, unless it's got big debate feeds or whatever. They could have millions watching. But it might have had maybe 10,000 people watching it, and it's all professors and policy wonks. And what I'm telling you is, that's why I get so angry and frustrated. They're all admitting all this. You notice everything I talk about keeps coming true because it already had come true. I'm not predicting anything. This stuff's already going on. I tell you about it. Later, they have to admit it. You go, oh, you predicted that. I didn't predict this. They're hiding in plain view like an elephant in the room. The Republican leadership with foreign banks, with the Democratic leadership, wrote Obamacare as a foreign corporate tax. And now Boner and all of them are trying to destroy the Tea Party so they can bankrupt this country.
Now you can watch Alex Jones live at Infowars.com/show.
You'll find links to all of our content there and a free 15-day trial for Prison Planet TV.
You can also browse the network, the InfoWars Nightly News,
and over 60 movies and documentaries all together in one place.
You can watch the Alex Jones Radio Show live as it happened.
So check it out, Infowars.com/show.